Okay, let's talk about the SAT grammar section. It's not some big, scary mystery, right? It's a system. And in this explainer, we're going to give you the blueprint to totally master it. We're going to turn what feels like a challenge into what could be your highest scoring section. Let's jump in.
Just let that sink in for a second. Forget everything your English teacher ever told you about sounding creative or writing these beautiful, flowing essays. What if you just thought about this section as a game? With a clear set of rules and a guaranteed way to win?
Well, here's the thing. It is a game. That's exactly what it is. The SAT grammar section has nothing to do with creative writing. It's all about rule-based editing. And we're about to walk through the map together.
So, the very first and honestly, the most important mental shift you gotta make is this. Your goal is not to sound smart, it's not to write beautifully. Your only job is to spot errors and fix them. Fast. Think of yourself as a machine. It's all about correctness, not creativity.
You need to burn this into your brain. Your ear is going to lie to you a lot. An answer might sound good, it might sound elegant or sophisticated, but if it breaks a single tiny rule, it's wrong. Period. The SAT is testing rules, not style. And there's only one single, objectively correct answer for every question.
So, how do we make this whole game simpler? Well, it turns out that every single question on this test falls into one of just two categories. That's it. Just two. And just knowing which bucket a question belongs to, that's half the battle right there. It's the first step to getting the answer right and getting it quickly.
So, check this out. This basically splits the entire test right down the middle. On one side, you've got standard English conventions. These are the hard and fast black and white grammar rules. Think punctuation, making sure your subject and verb agree, that kind of stuff. Then on the other side, you have expression of ideas. This bucket is all about logic. Is the sentence clear? Is it concise? Does the transition word make sense? Is this sentence even relevant here? Every question fits in one of these two buckets.
All right, now we're getting to the good stuff, the part you've probably been waiting for. If you want to see a huge jump in your score, and I mean fast, this is where you need to focus. Why? Because these grammar questions follow the exact same predictable patterns over and over and over again.
And no, I'm not exaggerating here. Seriously. Mastering this section can boost your score by 100, even 150 points, way faster than any other part of the test. There's no deep reading or complex ideas to analyze, just clean, repeatable rules that you can absolutely master.
Okay, if you walk away with only one thing today, I want it to be this. This is the single most powerful, most important rule that is going to guide you through the huge majority of questions you're going to face.
Yep, that's it. So simple, right? But it is unbelievably powerful. The SAT is obsessed with being concise. It absolutely loves sentences with fewer words and cleaner structures. Any unnecessary words, any fluffy phrases, they're almost always wrong. So you're looking at the answer choices, right? And you spot one that's just wordy. It adds a bunch of fluff. It rephrases something in a really complicated way, but it doesn't actually add any new meaning.
Exactly. You just delete it from existence. Seriously, get rid of it. Don't even think twice. If an option isn't adding real value, it's wrong. Trust me, this one mindset will help you eliminate wrong answers with so much speed and confidence. It's a game changer. Okay, let's tackle punctuation. Most of us think of it as, decoration or maybe a style thing. On the SAT, Nope, that's totally wrong. On this test, punctuation is a rigid system of logic. Every single mark has a very specific job to do.
The best way to think about this is that each mark is like a symbol in a math equation. It has one specific job. A comma, that's a weak pause. A dash is a stronger, more dramatic pause. A colon basically screams, hey, an explanation or a list is coming up next. And a semicolon? A semicolon is literally an equal sign. It connects two complete, closely related sentences. If the punctuation doesn't fit its logical job, the answer is wrong. Simple as that.
Okay, so you know the rules now. Let's talk about how the people who make the test try to trick you, because they do. But the good news is they use the same few traps over and over. Once you learn to see them, you're pretty much immune.
All right, these are the big ones you gotta watch out for. First, they love to stick a really long phrase between the subject and the verb, just to confuse you and make you forget what the original subject was. Second, they'll use a vague pronoun like it or they, and you'll have no idea what it's actually referring to. Third, they'll pop in a fancy transition word like however or consequently when the logic of the sentence doesn't actually need it. And finally, they'll give you a few different answer choices that are just reworded versions of the same mistake. Once you start looking for these, you'll see them everywhere.
And here's the really cool part. It's not like you have to solve a brand new puzzle every single time. You're just seeing the same few traps wearing different disguises. Once you know what you're looking for, they become incredibly obvious. You literally can't unsee them.
All right, let's bring this all home. The big picture here is that the SAT grammar section is not something you should be afraid of. Not at all. It's a system, and any system can be broken down and mastered once you understand how it's designed. And this is maybe the most crucial distinction to make. The SAT reading section, that's a mind game. It's about interpretation, about inference, reading between the lines. But the grammar section, that's a rule game. The answers aren't up for debate. They're not subjective. They are 100% determined by a fixed set of rules. So you have to treat it that way. Don't get emotional, don't get in your head about it, and don't second-guess yourself. You see the error, you apply the rule, you pick the answer, and you move on. This section is designed to be mechanical, predictable, and honestly super score-friendly. It's where you can rack up points fast.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint. You know it's a game, you know the golden rules, and you know the traps to watch out for. The only question left is, are you ready to stop being intimidated and start mastering the rules?